Hey, welcome back, guys. In today's video, we're going to look at Neville Goddard's first book titled At Your Command. If you don't know who Neville Goddard is, I highly suggest you look him up. There are many recordings of his lectures and teachings on YouTube. Interesting guy, lots of good information regarding getting what you want in life. His books were not that long. He was very good at parsing down the information into just what is needed to get the point across, something that I really respect and enjoy. Now, I have not read this book yet, so I will be reacting in real time with insights as we go. First, I want to give a huge shout out to lawofattractionhaven.com. That's law-of-attraction-haven.com. They have a massive database of law of attraction books on their website that they have curated. I'm not affiliated with them in any way. I just wanted to give credit where credit is due, as that is where I was able to find this book and many others available to read for free. Also, if you could subscribe and hit that bell notification, I would be deeply grateful. So without further ado, let's jump in. At Your Command by Neville Goddard, written in 1939, so these ideas have been around for a long time. This information is timeless. All right, this is the foreword. This book contains the very essence of the principle of expression. Had I cared to, I could have expanded it into a book of several hundred pages, but such expression would have defeated the purpose of this book. Commands to be effective must be short and to the point. The greatest command ever recorded is found in the few simple words, "And God said, let there be light." In keeping with this principle, I now give you, the reader, in these few pages, the truth as it was revealed to me, Neville. I couldn't agree more. Short and sweet. Can a man decree a thing and have it come to pass? Most decidedly he can. Man has always decreed that which has appeared in his world, and is today decreeing that which is appearing in his world, and shall continue to do so as long as man is conscious of being man. Not one thing has ever appeared in man's world but what man decreed that it should. This you may deny, but try as you will, you cannot disprove it, for this decreeing is based upon a changeless principle. You cannot command things to appear by your words or loud affirmation. Such vain repetition is more often than not confirmation of the opposite. Decreeing is ever done in consciousness, that is, every man is conscious of being that which he decreed himself to be. The dumb man, without using words, is conscious of being dumb. Therefore, he is decreeing himself to be dumb. What he's saying here is that we create our own reality, not by our words or loud affirmations, but rather by our thoughts and feelings. It goes back to self-image and how we view ourselves and the limitations that we put on ourselves. And also the word dumb, as used here, means unable to speak. It's a term that was more prevalent during the era this book was written. Okay, he goes on. When the Bible is read in this light, you will find it to be the greatest scientific book ever written. Instead of looking upon the Bible as the historical record of an ancient civilization or the biography of the unusual life of Jesus, see it as a psychological drama taking place in the consciousness of man. Claim it as your own, and you will suddenly transform your world from the barren deserts of Egypt to the promised land of Canaan. Everyone will agree with the statement that all things were made by God, and without him there is nothing made that is made. But what man does not agree upon is the identity of God. All the churches and priesthoods of the world disagree as to the identity and true nature of God. The Bible proves beyond the shadow of a doubt that Moses and the prophets were in 100% accord as the identity and nature of God, and Jesus' life and teachings are in agreement with the findings of the prophets of old. Moses discovered God to be man's awareness of being when he declared these little understood words, "I am hath sent me unto you." David sang in his Psalms, "Be still and know that I am God." Isaiah declared, "I am the Lord, and there is none else. There is no God beside me. I girded thee through thou hast not known me, though thou hast not known me. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and I create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. The awareness of being as God is stated hundreds of times in the New Testament. To name a few, I am the shepherd. I am the door. I am the resurrection and the life. I am the way. I am the Alpha and Omega. I am the beginning and the end. And again, whom do you say that I am? It is not stated that I, Jesus, as the door, I, Jesus, as the way. Not is it said, whom do you say that I, Jesus, am? It is clearly stated, I am the way. The awareness of being is the door through which the manifestations of life pass into the world of form. This is a really interesting topic. I grew up in a Christian household and still consider myself a Christian. So growing up, I would hear passages from the Bible, stories, parables, the Ten Commandments, etc. I always like to dig deeper and ask why. Believe it or not, a lot of Christians get upset when you ask why. I like to get to the bottom of why and why we do what we do. Why does God command X, Y, or Z? There has to be a reason. I found that most people don't like that. That never deterred me from seeking the truth and broadening my understanding of spirituality. So one of the things that didn't make any sense to me was the commandment, thou shalt not take the Lord's name in vain. Like, what is God's name? A lot of people say Jehovah, and it means you can't say that, or some people will say you can't say the phrase, oh my God, or saying, God damn it, is bad. None of this was good enough for me, because ultimately these are just words, they're just noise that we're making with our vocal cords, and I refuse to believe that when Judgment Day comes for me, God's going to look at the record and say, well, you said, oh my God, 743 times. Eternal torment for you, pal. Makes no sense. So to understand what taking God's name in vain really means, we have to look at what God said his name was when Moses asked. I am. Now, what if when we refer to ourselves and our abilities by saying things like, I am fill in the blank, we are actually speaking the name of God and attributing those things to God. So when we say things like, I am stupid or I'm not deserving, are we actually saying these things about God? Could that be the real meaning behind taking God's name in vain? Food for thought. We continue. Consciousness is the resurrecting power, resurrecting that which man is conscious of being. Man is never outpicturing that which he is conscious of being. This is the truth that makes man free, for man is always self-imprisoned or self-freed. If you, the reader, will give up all of your former beliefs in a God apart from yourself and claim God as your awareness of being. I'd like to pause here for a second. Neville Goddard talks a lot about you are God, and it sounds a lot like those wacky preachers on TV that are just super cringe when you listen to them. I don't believe that what Neville Goddard intended to convey exactly. I don't believe that's what he intended to convey. But I would say just as you listen, whatever doesn't make sense now, just put on the shelf to review at a later time. Okay, here we go. If you, the reader, will give up all of your former beliefs in a God apart from yourself and claim God as your awareness of being, as Jesus and the prophets did, you will transform your world with the realization that I and my Father are one. This statement, I and my Father are one, but my Father is greater than I, seems very confusing. But if interpreted in the light of what we have just said concerning the identity of God, you will find it very revealing. Consciousness, being God, is as Father. The thing that you are conscious of being is the Son, bearing witness of his Father. It's like the conceiver in his conceptions. The conceiver is ever greater than his conceptions, yet remains one with his conception. For instance, before you are conscious of being man, you are first conscious of being. Then you become conscious of being man. Yet you remain as conceiver, greater than your conception, man. Jesus discovered this glorious truth and declared himself to be one with God, not a God that man had fashioned, for he had never recognized such a God. He said, "If any man should ever come, saying, 'Look here,' or 'Look there,' believe them not, for the kingdom of God is within you. Heaven is within you. Therefore, when it is recorded that he went unto his Father, it is telling you that he rose in consciousness to the point where he was just conscious of being, thus transcending the limitations of his present conception of himself called Jesus." Okay, this is very interesting here. I remember reading from the Lost Gospel of Thomas. If I'm not mistaken, it was one of the texts in the Nag Hammadi library back in the mid-40s. It was discovered. In it is an account of the disciples asking Jesus who would be at his right hand in heaven, who was going to have prestige and be your favorite. Paraphrasing what Jesus said, he goes, "It's not really like that." And they asked him where heaven was located. And Jesus said, "It's not a physical place as we would understand it. It's more of a state of mind." So armed with this knowledge, the phrase, "the kingdom of heaven is within you," makes a lot more sense. Okay. In the awareness of being, all things are possible. He said, "You shall decree a thing, and it shall come to pass." This is his decreeing, rising in consciousness to the naturalness of being the thing desired. As he expressed it, and I, if I be lifted up, shall draw all men unto me. If I be lifted up in consciousness to the naturalness of the thing desired, I will draw the manifestation of that desire unto me. For he states, "No man comes unto me, save the Father within me draws him, and I and my Father are one." Therefore consciousness is the Father that is drawing the manifestations of life unto you. You are, at this very moment, drawing into your world that which you are now conscious of being. Now you can see what is meant by "you must be born again." If you are dissatisfied with your present expression of life, the only way to change it is to take your attention away from that which seems so real to you and rise in consciousness to that which you desire to be. You cannot serve two masters, therefore, to take your attention from one state of consciousness and place it upon another is to die to one and life to the other. Wow, okay, there's a lot to unpack here. He says, in the awareness of being, all things are possible. So once we're aware of being, we can decree a thing and it will come to pass. He quotes Jesus when he says, "No man comes unto the Father no man comes unto me save the Father within me draws him, and I and my Father are one." It took me several reads through of this line before I was able to understand it. Sometimes the Old English translations are a bit confusing, but here's what I got from it. No one seeks truth from any other way than being drawn by the source from which they were created. Okay, guys, we're going to stop it right there to wrap up today's video. Please drop a like and subscribe. We are learning more and more about how the law of attraction works and how we can use it to get the things that we want in life. In this video, we're reading from Neville Goddard's book, At Your Command. Neville talks a lot about Jesus and his teachings. If you're coming from a Christian perspective, this was a very good eye-opening video for you. In fact, from any perspective, it's a good video. So thank you so much for watching. We will see you on the next one.